not enough. I think that we are doing everything to try to improve the situation, but maybe it's not enough. It's not enough, and I repeat, for me, it's very frustrated. This is the first time in my life that happened this type of situation. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm not so good. I'm not so good. Maybe I'm not so good. Yes, I'm not so good, and I think Tottenham called me to improve the situation. But I'm too honest. I'm too honest to close my eyes. You understand? I think that we are doing everything to try to.
Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of London Clubs Carnage. Conte looking very bipolar and very, very indecisive in terms of his mindset and happiness at Tottenham, because it was just the other day, and I was trying to find the clip just to show the back-to-back, but it was just the other day he was saying that he loves coming to training and he loves working with the players and it's the best squad best group of players ever worked with. I don't know what's going on over there. But listen, we've got a special and new guest, first time on the channel to replace Lee. Looking forward to it. His team got out of jail, because I'm telling you, if it had gone the way it would have gone with that 1-0 lead with Wolves, it would have been a difficult debut for Northside. But bro, talk to me. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Happy with the result and annoyed once again with the performance.
Okay, interesting. And Toby, talk to me. How are you doing, bro? A silly question, I guess, because you trekked to Burnley on that Wednesday, and it didn't go to plan in that environment as well. It's probably the worst place to go up and get a defeat from, because it's far. It ain't the brilliant. It's not a great place to go to, but also no 3 points as well. How are you feeling?
Yeah, you summarized it. I don't really think I need to answer there, right? You've literally said everything I would want to say. So yeah.
And Corey, bro, how are you feeling? Well, you drew against Sevilla, isn't it? Actually, that's the most
tough one, mate. Yeah, tough, mate. Tough, yeah. Like we said before,
the draw's been made, right?
Yeah, got Sevilla.
Sevilla went through because they were losing 1-0 to Dinamo yesterday.
Yeah. I was saying to these guys beforehand, I didn't realise how well they're doing in the league. They're second, so they are specialists in that competition, which is tough. But I think once that's subsided a little bit, I think people are getting excited. It's what you're in it for, really. Do you know what I mean? To play these type of teams. So yeah, we'll be buzzing for it. Let's get through Wolves first, though. That's a different story.
I've got to obviously start with the headline act, which is Tottenham. I've looked at your recent fixtures. Obviously, Man City was a brilliant win, and that's what we were going to talk about on the Wednesday if we had done the show then. But 3 defeats out of the last 4, and obviously the most difficult game, especially away from home, that's the one that you get through. But Burnley, I mean, I don't know, man. Before the pre-match press conference, I'm seeing Conte seems to be fairly happy, saying that he loves going to training and he loves the players and whatnot. And then after the match, he's basically trying to sack himself, from what I can hear, saying that he doesn't think he's good enough, or maybe, putting some doubt over his future, saying we need to have a discussion with the board, and it could be going tits up a lot faster than even I thought. He's a very impatient guy. He's very emotional. He's very emotive. He always wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's never going to tolerate this type of performance and this type of level from a football club that he's in charge of. But I must say, it's happening a bit early. Is it happening a bit earlier than you expected, Toby?
No, it's not. Isn't this what I don't really get this notion that I should be upset. I get why some Spurs fans are upset with what he's saying, but why is it surprising? We've been operating like a terrible club for the past couple of years, and we have owners who always want to shortcut their way into certain situations, and it never works. So they've not behaved any different. So why would we expect that he wouldn't say anything? Like, wasn't that the whole point of bringing in a manager like Conte from a fan perspective, that he would call out situations where a problem was clearly apparent? Like, for me, it's a bit inconsistent. I get it in the way he does speak about the club, but like, you can't you can't say that everything he's saying about the club is wrong. What has he said about the club that's incorrect? What's he said about the club that's incorrect?
Is it unprofessional for him to do that though? Considering he's managing the football club to go
professionalism. I'm done. Fuck professionalism. Why are we talking about professionalism? We have just lost 4 out of our last 5 games. We're losing to Burnley 1-0. We have 5 attacking players on the pitch and we still don't look like scoring against Burnley. We're losing to Southampton at home. We're losing to Wolves at home. We finished 7th in the league last year. We finished 6th the year before. We knew what we needed to do in January. We didn't do enough. We knew what we needed to do in the summer. We didn't do enough. Why are we talking about professionalism? Why do I care about that as a fan? What is professionalism going to do for me? What is professionalism going to do for me? Big man thing. What is it going to do for me? Or what if he says something nice? What's it going to do for me? The players know the situation. The players have their own relationship with Antonio Conte. That's fine. We can speculate all we want based off his press conferences, but we don't know the relationship he has with the players. And when you speak, when these players have spoken about his impact individually, using Harry Kane's interview as an example, or his comments, they speak nothing but nice things about the guy. So, listen, he has his own relationship with the players. I can get why it looks toxic, what he's doing, but in all honesty, Spurs are a toxic club. We've been a toxic club for years. The only difference is Conte is just airing out our dirty laundry, which is what we wanted. Well, which is what I wanted. I'm not going to tend to speak for other fans, but it's definitely what I wanted. So I'm not offended by anything he's saying. In fact, I want more of it. I want him to ruffle as many feathers as possible.
It's such a strange one because part of what he said I agree with, and part of what he said I disagree with. I think he said the same. You have had a decent turnover of players. I just think the recruitment's really poor, isn't it? I think that's really what it comes down to. I wouldn't say that the players stay the same and the manager changes. There has been a turnover of players.
They do stay the same. Why do they not stay the same?
You've signed a new centre back. You brought in 2 new right backs.
We signed Romero. Yeah, we signed 1 centre back. We needed 2 centre backs. We signed 1. We needed a striker. We signed none. We needed a right winger. We only signed Kulusevski in January. He wasn't there at the start of the season. We needed 2 central midfielders. We've only signed 1, and he came in January. We needed a right back. We needed a right back. They went out and bought a poor right back in the summer for 30 million euros, and now we're lumbered with 2 poor right backs. They needed to do something about that situation in January. They did nothing. They did nothing. We're still relying on Ryan Sessegnon, who we paid 30 million for around 3 years ago to play backup left backs regular, and he's crap. So when he's saying same players, it's still largely the same players. We're still having to deal with some of the same poor players that have let us down over the past couple of years. And then to make matters worse, the new players that they're bringing in are not good enough. So in addition to the fact that they didn't spend any money before, now they're spending money. They're now spending money on poor players. So we're in this vicious cycle where our squad is actually not getting any better. And then the only sort of short-term shortcut is to sack the manager, and then bring someone in, hoping that will inject some life into the team. We wasted a year and a half faffing about with Mourinho. We wasted 6 months faffing about with Nuno. Shouldn't have sacked Pochettino in the first place. And now we've got a manager who's at the peak of his powers and still can't get a tune out of some of these players. But yeah, sure, okay, cool. He should be professional. He shouldn't say anything. Fuck out of here, man. I'm tired of hearing this shit. Honestly, I'm fed up of hearing this shit.
I think you guys missed a trick at not getting that right hand side. We spoke about it during the transfer window so much about you guys and your right hand side. We spoke about Emerson at length. We've spoken about Doherty. I know you're not a massive fan of Adama Traore. He is starting pretty damn well in a new environment in Barcelona.
Yeah,
even someone like him
playing that wing, whatever.
Yeah, he's getting his assists, and even him, I think
let him get his assists. I don't care, bro.
But he is. But you're talking about injecting some life into this team. He has injected some life into that Barcelona team, and I think Conte.
The Adama deal was there. The Adama deal was there. Yeah, blame the club for not getting it done quicker enough. But from what I heard, Conte wasn't really sure on him anyway. And plus, Barcelona came in for him. He's not gonna turn Barca down for Spurs. It happens. Same way with Luis Diaz turning down Spurs for Liverpool. It happens. But when you lose your first target, that's it done. You don't sign anyone.
That's the madness.
He's not even a right back anyway. Didn't he want to play right back? He wanted to play right wing.
Yeah. I mean, you need a right wing back and a right winger, really. So,
and we've signed a right winger, but we don't have a right wing back.
I think you
right
could have done a decent job at right wing back. But in Northside, what do you make of this Tottenham situation from being over the? I mean, not far away, obviously, as a London rival. It is a bit of a mess. I mean, you guys are in maybe a more stable position. But what do you make of everything going on over there? Because they got this elite manager, a manager way better, of course, than yours, but the problems don't stop.
Obviously, I love it, innit? I'm a rival, so I love it. But everything that Toby's calling out his club for, I call out my own club for. Do you know what I mean? My club is run like a mess as well. And I think with Tottenham, I think Toby has every right to be complaining. Do you know what I mean? I think with Tottenham, too many times they put round pegs in square holes. Like for example, Dyer. Like, why is Dyer at the back? Like, I don't even care if he's been playing well. Like that should be assessed. They should be getting a proper centre back. The midfield as well. You look at this team. Everyone that leaves, they always.
Dyer. He's not even a problem. I'm not even gonna lie. I won't even front. Dyer's been all right this season. He ain't the problem right now.
That's
anyway.
cool, yeah. But look, how long? Like even simple things like, you know, with Harry Kane, like who's his number 2? Like, how long does it take to realize you need to strike? Simple things Tottenham don't do. And I think Toby has every right to say, you know what? Be happy that your manager's calling it out, because my manager just laps up the process. It's just a yes man for the club, and that's why we're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? I prefer a manager like, you know, that you've got, that calls out the board, that calls out and says, look, listen, at the end of the day, I'm here earning a lot of money, but I care more about the reputation. I care about winning. I care about silverware, not just receiving a paycheck every month. And I rate that, because we just got this clown at my club loving up this process and just being a puppet like Arsene Wenger was in the last couple of years. But at the same time, as much as I agree,
doing well this season, though. Is he not? He's doing well this season, though. Arteta.
Who?
Arteta.
The manager.
Nah.
And that's coming from me.
That's coming from us. Yeah. That's coming from us and all people.
He's doing well, bro.
I don't think he's doing well. I don't think he's doing well. But I'll get on to the Arsenal bit why I don't think
football's in foot. The style of play is improved. The defense.
It hasn't. That's not true.
It definitely
hasn't. Against Burnley, we struggled to break down a Burnley. We played dead. Then we went up against. We literally had Gabriel to score. We played dead. We won yesterday. The performance was dead. It was literally individual brilliance bailing us out. The same type of football that Man United were playing under Ole, and that got him sacked.
Northside. Your team peppered Wolves for the last 20 minutes. You literally were camped
because they set back.
You had 54 you had 52 touches in their box. Even Ruben Neves came out today and said he said Wolves didn't play well. Arsenal were the better team. They deserved to win that game. Like, you lot. Fair enough. First half wasn't great, but second half you put the fear.
First half was abysmal. Second half, they literally shut up shop when they had a goal. Of course, you're going to dominate in possession. Of course, you're going to look great because they're just setting up 2 banks of 4. I just think you need. I think I get it. You've been through hard times, and it's not to say that Arsenal are back. I understand it. I don't know how we got to Arsenal from Spurs. I get it. I think you just have to take it. And I'll say this to Lee as well. I think you just have to take a step back and actually look at the team. Are they playing better football? Yes. Is the defensive unit better? Yes. How many has the points tally improved? Yes. Bro. Let's be real, yeah.
Listen. I'm so critical of Arsenal. I'm overly critical of Arsenal and Chelsea, but bro, like, I know what a shit team looks like. And I can't actually say Arsenal are a shit team right now. I genuinely can't.
You're talking from someone who supports a shit team, knows a shit team, sees a shit team week in, week out.
I'm going to wait for the Arsenal segment. On your team,
I can't watch
on your team, yeah? On your team, I'll get to roasting Arsenal because I'm not happy. And I'll tell you why. But on your team, everything that you're criticizing your club, I can criticize my club. Yeah, but the thing is, Conte knew that he was coming to a club where the owner sells you dreams and doesn't fully back you. He knows he's coming to a disjointed team. He knows what happened to Mourinho when Mourinho was there. This is nothing surprising. If you care so much about your reputation, don't go to Spurs. With all due respect, don't go Spurs. Don't go Spurs. Don't go Arsenal. Don't go Man United. They don't have a structure at the club. Yeah, some of us may dash money at the problem, but we're not about football. We're about PR and selling shirts. So at the end of the day, you can sit there moaning and groaning. You knew what you're coming into. And with his track record at Chelsea and Inter, it's not like that was the only job he could have got.
Yes.
So don't cry about it now, bro.
This is the point. This is the point I wanted to make, Northside, yeah? this is similar to like you going into, you know, the relationship's going to be toxic. You see the CV, the history record, being having a record of cheating, but you still say, I'm going to try and change them. I'm going to try and change them. I'm going to get in there.
And Kim.
Yeah, Kanye and Kim. I'm going to try and change them. I'm going to be the difference maker. You could have just held out a little longer and another job comes. You're a world-class manager. You've just won Serie A. He goes into Tottenham. He wasn't complaining when he got the paycheck. He went in there. Everything was all smooth, rosy. You're going in there. You want to change the club. You know the track record. So it's similar to Ronaldo at Manchester United, where I say, you're a born winner, but you've gone to a club where you know the structure is a mess. And for you to think that that's going to change so fast, I get it. You're definitely pulling up trees and you're definitely exposing the foundations and the flaws, and Tottenham fans will love that. But from an outside perspective looking in, I'm looking at you and thinking your decision making as a manager as well is not too clever to go into that situation, because you should have known what Tottenham was. Tottenham have been moving like this for years. But Corey, I mean, what's your take on Tottenham at the moment? Because obviously, as a West Ham fan, we're just lapping up and enjoying it.
Well, I'm trying to, mate, but my team's not doing too well. So I kind of like, I can't come with the same type of energy. Look, I spoke about it before. I think with the Conte thing, I genuinely, like you have said that he should have really known what was going to happen. And it was kind of obvious with someone like Levy. But I don't believe he thought that group of players was bad as they actually are. And I think until you really get into a club and see him on a weekly basis, he's finding out. And in a lot of games, let's be honest, his players' individual errors have cost him games. So I think... What's that?
No, I said I agree. I said I don't think he expected it, and I think he didn't, even by his standards, he didn't expect it to be this bad.
No, and look, Conte's the character where, and quite rightly, you look at his track record internationally across different leagues. He's a winner. You know, he hasn't lost 3 games on the bounce since 2009. So he genuinely must have felt that, because let's be honest, like for me, I think he's the 3rd best coach in the world. He would be able to get this team at least moving in the right direction. But he's looking at it thinking, I've never been in a situation where I'm losing to Wolves, I'm losing to Southampton, I'm losing to Burnley. It's something that he's just not comfortable with. So I almost got it from that perspective of him coming out. Yes, it's unprofessional. And yes, if you're a Spurs fan, you probably don't like seeing it, because you're like, well, you're part of the club now. You've got to get behind the players and you've got to push them to another level. At the same time, that's exactly the type of character you want. That's the geezer. We sat here when he was appointed and said, in terms of that balance between Tottenham trying to find a winning manager and a winning mentality, he's the guy. And Tottenham may have to break, or he's going to have to break a few plates or whatever to get them moving in the right direction. My problem is, if you're looking at it from a Spurs perspective, I don't think they backed him enough in January to get enough leeway to get him to the summer. And I think that's where, even though they've got Kulusevski, even though they've got Bentancur, they're good players, I still think that right wing back he needed. And you just needed a little bit more leverage. You're always on a ticking time bomb with Conte, because you don't know when he's going to go. He'll get up and go and he won't care. But Tottenham as a club should have worked harder to support him. That's how I feel.
Even with that squad though, like when you look at the way they treated Poch, the best manager they've ever had, why go there? Do you know what I mean? Like, look at what Poch, you know, we'll do respect, Toby, yeah? Look what he did for your club. And then not you fans, but the ownership, the people that are in charge. Look at the way they dealt with him. Why would I, as Conte, go, why am I going to go there when look at what Poch did with literally no funds? Look at the way he was treated. So why am I going to put my neck on the line? Why are they going to back me? Because they can say, okay, Jose's toxic. Was Poch toxic? I don't think so. And when you look at the projection of other great managers, you know, Tuchel going from Mainz, then going to PSG, going to Chelsea, you need to be on the upwards trajectory. Not all due respect to Tottenham. Why are you going to go from Chelsea, Inter? Okay, Inter worked out. But then when you're going to go to Tottenham, why? When you could hold out, like Matisse said, and you can get a top job.
I think that's where he sort of backed himself. I think he definitely sort of backed himself to try and be the guy to sort of change things at Spurs. And I respect him for that, man. I respect him for that, because a lot of people sit up there in the ivory tower and they know what works well for them. But at the same time, Antonio Conte didn't just up and decide he wanted to join Spurs. We went in for him in the summer and he knocked us back. This is a manager that doesn't deal in, like my word to James Redmond, he doesn't deal in if, buts, or maybes. He deals in absolutes. He has assurances. He has specific demands beyond his financial packages in terms of what he's being paid. He has specific demands that he requires at each and every club. If he doesn't get those demands, he's off ski. You saw it at Chelsea. You saw it at Chelsea in the second season. He said that he weren't getting Chelsea weren't following his direction on players, etc., etc. They sacked him, and he won his case. He won his compensation case because they sacked him unfairly. At Inter Milan, he took the job again, assurances that there would be consistent funds available for players, etc., etc. The minute Inter went back on their word and said, because of the pandemic, we can no longer fulfill our obligations towards you, and we're going to need to start selling players, he busts out. So the same way we're saying, yep, this is Spurs, he should have known the situation. I can hear that, I agree with that, but then you can also look at it on the flip side. This is not a manager who would take this job without certain assurances. And how do we know that those assurances have been met in the time in which he's been at the club? January was a tester, the start of it. From a fan perspective, from my perspective, it wasn't enough. I rated it max 5 out of 10 window. It wasn't enough. We're trying to get into the Champions League. You look at the state of that team. You look at what needs to be done. It wasn't enough. And that is no disrespect to Kulusevski and Bentancur, because they are clearly two players who, as you've seen in the last 2 matches, they moonwalk into our team. And they're not even like elite players or anything like that. They literally moonwalk into our team. It is to say that there was more to be done. They left us short in the summer, and yet again they're playing catch up. And the changes, the adjustments that they could have made in January, they didn't do enough of it. So when he's saying these things to me, I'm like, okay, yeah, it may sound a bit reactionary, etc., etc. But is it inaccurate? The answer is no. Is what he's actually saying about Spurs incorrect? No. So I'm going to focus on what he's saying about Spurs in terms of how he's delivering it, because what he's saying is true. Everything he's saying is true. Whether you support Spurs or not, everything he's saying is true.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch the Burnley Tottenham game before we move on, but I'm finding it difficult to analyze, because in a traditional Burnley Tottenham game, you'd expect, okay, Tottenham going to have all the possession. Burnley are going to, park the bus a little bit and play on the counter. And you did dominate possession, but you conceded 15 shots to Burnley, and you obviously, took 12 shots yourself. The shooting accuracy seems to be a little bit of a shocker. But where did Tottenham lose this game? Because I didn't watch it, and I go on SofaScore and everybody's in the green. I'm like, well, what's going on here? Is this app? Do I need to delete it, or what's going on? Like, where do I go?
You need to start. You should only use SofaScore for match stats, i.e., possession, big chances created, attempts on goal, match stats, or fixtures. You should not be using SofaScore to determine how well a player has played, because that's where you start.
Just joking with you, but
But I think what went wrong is what typically goes wrong when we play up against sides that actually put a lot of men behind the ball and do it in an organized manner. We don't have enough ball playing quality to break down teams who actually set up with a reasonably organized deep block. Yeah, what we did to Man City, Burnley just did the reverse to us, and it was, I'd probably say we were way more disciplined against Man City than Burnley were against us. Burnley defended okay in it, but it's more to the fact that we don't have the necessary players throughout the key parts of our team to move this ball at speed, to move this ball with any sort of penetration, to carry the ball, to cross the ball. Is poor. It's unfortunate. Our best players in the team are Kane, Son, Romero, and maybe probably Bentancur, Kulusevski, whatever. Yeah. Out of the players I just named to you, 3 of them are attackers, which means that they are dependent on receiving the ball from the midfield, receiving the ball from the wing backs or fullbacks, or if we want to go direct, receiving the ball from the centre backs. Yeah. We do not have enough quality playing out from the back to actually get the ball into good promising areas in the final third. And then once in the off chance we do get into good promising areas, we don't have the quality to punish sides. We don't. A classic example of that is Emerson Royale in the second half. So the ball gets played out to the right-hand side, and Harry Kane and Emerson Royale are there. Harry Kane literally tells Emerson, no, don't worry, chill. I've got this. And he goes on to put in the best cross of the game, and it goes out for a corner. Dangerous cross, and all it needed was one touch, and it could have gone in as a goal. And that is a problem. That is a problem. Harry Kane is our striker. Yeah. Him dropping deep should not be a prerequisite for us to create. Son Heung-min is a lethal forward, but in build-up, he's not good. He's not good. Kulusevski, on the other hand, he gives us a lot of width on the right-hand side. But again, these guys, they need the ball in and around the dangerous areas. And when we're playing a midfield of Winks and Højbjerg, we don't have the quality and the frequency to actually get the ball into these guys in the final third. And then with Conte's system, a lot of the creativity is coming from the wing backs. And I don't need to tell you how bad the wing backs are. Yeah. Whether it's for positive reasons or negative reasons, yeah, because there have been some games where he's just made them changes where we've won 3-0 or 2-0. He's just making refreshing changes. I did my research. Antonio Conte has managed Spurs, so I think it's like 20, 21 matches or something like that he's managed for us. And out of those games, I think it's around 17 or 18 of those games he's had to substitute his wing backs. Now I need to check back at Inter Milan to see how frequently he substituted the wing backs, because of course I think there he had Darmian, so he had Hakimi and Perisic, but he'd also have Darmian who would come in as and when required. But I find it bizarre that we constantly have to substitute our wing backs, because for the most part they're just not offering enough. Even in games we go on to win, they have to be substituted, because for the most part they're not offering enough. And in our team, they can't go. We have wing backs who can't dribble past players, who can't take meaningful to that goal, who can't cross the ball,
can't defend.
So effectively they're rendered null and void. Like Sessegnon was, you may as well have played with 10 men against Burnley when the ball went on that side, because it was useless. The guy is crap.
He has so much potential though at Fulham. I don't know what's happened to this guy. Where he disappeared to. He was good in the Championship.
Yeah, in the Championship, but in the Premier League, it's a different kettle of fish. He's just rubbish. He's crap. And he's 23 years old, and we spent 30 million on him. So that's the issue with Spurs. Even after the Man City win, I said, yeah, this City win is great. But there's still a dearth in quality in this team, because we don't have enough players who can actually penetrate sides. We don't have any creative players in the midfield. Our best technician is Bentancur. He's the only one who can break up the ball and move the ball at speed, or take the ball under pressure, suck 2-3 players in, and get the ball to the attacking third. And now he's injured for 3 weeks. He went off at halftime.
Oh, is he? Oh God.
Yeah. Other than that, who do we have? Skip. I like Skip. He's done a job this season. You're laughing, but Skip has done a job this season. He's not a bad player. And that's
but the fact that you're talking about Skip in that way tells me already that top four was never really.
There you go.
You're right. You know.
There you go.
We want to put you up there, but at the same time, when Skip is the guy that you're looking at, and he's obviously still young, this
is what I'm saying.
This is what I'm saying. Don't worry about that. Professional, reliable players like Højbjerg, you know how much I like Højbjerg. He's been rubbish this season. And again, ball progression, it's a myth with him. He's so robotic in the way he's playing for us this season. And Harry Winks, the less said about that guy, the better. So essentially, we are trying to play a team. We're trying to put together a system that you can see. We play 3 at the back. We play with wing backs. We play 2 in midfield, or 3 in midfield when Kulusevski drops in there to help in defensive phases. But you can see that with Antonio Conte's teams, he lacks his teams to build up from the back and play through the wing backs or through the central midfielders. We don't have the wing backs to provide the creativity. And then when we try and funnel the creativity through central areas, we don't have the midfielders to do it as well. Romero is literally...
You literally have no one really to actually progress.
Exactly. Romero and Dyer are probably the best ball progressors we've had from central areas over the past few months, which tells you everything you need to know. So again, when you lose 4 and 5, you have to question the manager. And Antonio Conte is not blameless in this situation. he left us short-handed when he went with 2 central midfielders against Wolves and Southampton, and it cost us because we got overran. And he knew he had to make a change there, and he made that change when he put Kulusevski to support the midfield against Man City at the Etihad. But when I'm looking at games like Burnley, we have so much of the ball, camped in Burnley's half, and you can't break him down. There was a point where he took off, and I've been going on for ages, sorry, but we finished the game with Kulusevski right wing back, Bergwijn left wing back, Lucas Moura right wing, Harry Kane striker, Son Heung-min left wing. We were playing with 5 attackers, and we still couldn't break this side down.
To be honest, it does validate what Conte literally said the other day about the players. Like, there's a lot of players in that Spurs
But then
team.
why does he go and say this is the best group of players he's ever had?
Well, that can't explain. That is weird. But
you're taking. Sorry, Corey. I just wanted to. You can make your point. I just wanted to address that point. You're taking what he says out of context, which is something that the British media love to do. They love to hyper analyze what he says. Even his speech, his passionate rant the other day, I'm reading that. I don't take that as him wanting to leave right now. I'm taking that as him saying to the powers that be that, look, this is the situation we're in now. This cannot be the solution long term. I can't work like this. That's what he's saying. He's saying, you need to rectify this. You need to make a plan to rectify this in the summer. If you don't make a plan to rectify this in the summer, I'm gone. But I promise you, Antonio Conte is going to be in the dugout on Sunday. He's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
Of course, yeah. I mean, he's still going to get paid.
All he's doing is reiterating to the powers that be that this is the situation that you've put me in. This is what you're going to see. And when we're talking about the comments that he made about the best group of players that we've worked with, that he's worked with, he was not talking about the quality. He said in terms of players' attentiveness and their ability to actually listen to what he's saying, like try and take in his ideas. He says they've been the most receptive. He says they're the best group of players that are willing to take on board what he says.
Well, because they're shit.
That's what he's saying.
Can you imagine Harry Winks can't believe his luck? He's getting managed by Conte.
Yeah, exactly. He's not saying that they're the best things in sliced bread. Yes, they're positive words, and yes, I get why you would say that. But when you actually read what he said, that's not what he said. Because when I saw that, I was like, "What? What are you talking about?"
But I do disagree with you that what he said if it was last night or the night before is angling for an exit. But go on, Corey. Sorry,
it is angling for it. What I said is it's not angling for an exit right now. It's angling for a response from Levy and Co to make a plan with this guy on what's going to happen come summer.
It's very rogue though, isn't it? To come out and when you even clip it up, it does sound like he's saying, well, you lot need to look at me and see whether I'm appropriate for the job or not. That's kind of a mad angle to come at, but it's very, very Conte. The only point I was going to make was, I think when people are digging him out and he's making these statements, and albeit they are polar opposites, at the end of the day, you look at some of those Spurs players, there's a lot of top 10 clubs that wouldn't take some of them. They can't get rid of Harry Winks. Emerson Royale should never have been bought for 25 million is a disgrace. Ben Davies is still at that club. There's only so much Conte can do, genuinely. And I think, like Toby alluded to, I think they are limited, definitely technically, but in terms of being able to implement a plan, at least you can see against Man City, they can do that. But then when they've got to try and switch it up and break down teams, sometimes it just comes down to quality, and it's not there. I just feel like even as a neutral or even as a Tottenham hater, I actually thought Conte would come in and he could just rectify it. Like, he would wave a magic wand, because I've seen him do it before. But you actually deep in, you actually look at that Tottenham team. That's nowhere near top 4. Like, it's not even close.
They're in a massive danger of being leapfrogged by some other clubs in the coming years if they don't. This is the turning point for Tottenham, but we'll see what happens. I want to move on to Arsenal, because it sounds like Northside's not a happy man, and I'm surprised because you beat a very good Wolves team, and I think it's a bit disrespectful to Wolves in a sense to actually not be happy about the victory, because Wolves are a very good team. We've played against them. Struggled massively.
Who said I wasn't happy with the victory?
Well, it sounds like you're not happy with the. Okay, you're not happy with. Sounds like you're not happy with the performance.
We just lost to Burnley.
I'm happy with the result. I'm happy with the win. I'm not happy with the performance. And Toby, all due respect, bro, I watch Arsenal 90 minutes every game, bro. When you look at the score and then you look at the performances have not been there. Games can be won in instances in the match. But over the 90 minutes, we're not performing, bro. And it's been like this all season. We've been up and down. And even when we beat you guys in the North London derby, we were only good for 45 minutes. The second half, you lot almost come back. You almost came back in that game. And what I'm saying is the inconsistencies has been there. When we went to Burnley, we literally got a 0-0. We couldn't break them down. Wolves, we were struggling. Literally, Martinelli was the only one going forward. No one was helping him. The midfield doesn't create anything. Into this game now, Brentford was the same thing. Individuals won us the game. But when you watch the game, we don't have no transition from the back. We're not fast enough. We don't press. We literally just give it to Martinelli and hope and pray, or give it to Saka. Saka can't get a rest. And we've got a striker that's not committed to the club, that's never been clinical. And then we've got another one on the bench in Ketia. He's also got 5 months that doesn't want to sign. And their performances show. Like, again, in this match, yeah.
So it's not sustainable, is what you're saying.
It's not sustainable, bro. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Bro, when you saw the way Ole was, yeah, he was winning matches the last minutes of the game and all this. He was getting individual brilliance to save him. That is what Arteta is doing. Individuals are saving us. But when you look at the way we play, we have no one in midfield to hold up the ball. Thomas Partey's been up and down. Xhaka, yesterday, okay, he didn't have a calamity. But when he doesn't have a calamity, what does he do? Because he wasn't creating. He wasn't controlling the midfield. Then you have Odegaard. He's literally a number 10 version of El Neni. The guy always goes backwards and sideways. And when he turns up, it's once in a blue moon. We need consistency. And it comes down to this manager because he's chosen to have a youth project. When you have youth, you have inconsistency. You have Martinelli. The first game that we had against Wolves, he was outstanding.
But were you getting consistency from your seniors is the question I have to ask, because you haven't had, for me, the best seniors to rely upon for consistency and for professionalism. I'm looking at consistency. I'm looking at David Luiz. I'm looking at Willian. For professionalism, obviously, I'm looking at Aubameyang. Yes, he's gone to Barcelona and he's doing just fine now. Scored the other night against Napoli. But your seniors have not been putting Arsenal on the map. They haven't put Arsenal on the level. So the only way for Arteta to go, was it not to go with younger players, especially as a young manager, younger managers and young in any profession, you tend to want people that are young.
Matisse,
also. They'll take instruction.
You mix it. Look at how you lot do it. You mix youth with experience, but proper experience. A Thiago Silva was a great buy, but somebody that's still in his prime, not us going for Willian, or us going for players that are over the hill like that. Come on, man. Like, it's shocking. At the end of the day, I'm not slating the youngsters, but how are we? The first goal, I don't know if you guys saw it. You probably did.
Yeah, massive mistake from Gabriel.
Every time we're getting pressed by 3 man, these guys still want to pass it out the back. Hoof it out back to their box. That nullifies the threat. Everyone can get back in position and we can defend, but we don't. Even when we're getting pressed, we do the wrong thing. And this manager's been here 2 years. What are we doing in training? If it's literally Gabriel and Ben White did a shocker yesterday. Literally, they had man running past them. By half time, this is how bad our performance were. They could have beat us yesterday they could have beat us 4-1, bro. And it's only because Jimenez kept missing. He had 3 or 4 chances. Hwang also had 3 or 4 chances. The way we were not marking our runners. We weren't going forward. We wasn't pressing them. We weren't doing anything. So when you look at the score, it tells a different story to the game. What were we doing? Martinelli in the game I didn't see him. Saka, I did not see him. Do you know what I'm saying? Lacazette needs 120 chances to flip and score a goal. It is not consistent playing like this. It's not, bro.
Can I ask? So for me, yeah, like, I'm not going to argue with the long-term issues that Arsenal have had. I think they've been apparent with a lot of the signings you've made over the years and just how dumb your club move. But if we're judging short-term, like what is happening right now, what we're seeing right now, I'm not seeing as many negatives as you and Lee. I'm not saying that all the negatives are gone, but I'm not seeing as many negatives as I saw at the start of the season. At the start of the season, when I watch you for 90 minutes, I can say, wow, what is this? What is this? What is that? But I'm looking at you now, and you say, cool, Wolves did have their chances. Hwang scored from the Gabriel mistake and missed. Well, I say missed. Ramsdale made a great save. Jimenez snatched at that chance that he had on the ground, and then he had the header. But when I look at the territorial dominance, it was Arsenal. You lot were consistently the aggressors.
You're not going to dominate when the team sits back, Toby. Come on. Your stats are going to look great because they are sitting back for 1-0.
of course they retreated in the second half, but I think because of how well you were moving the ball around, they couldn't really get at you with the frequency that they wanted to, especially in the last 15, 20 minutes when Arteta switched it, brought Pepe on, brought Nketiah on. I think he switched it to like a he basically had like 6 or 7 players attacking, and I was watching, bro. We were watching that game. Wolves had after I can't remember when the Huang chance was in the second half. I think it was pretty early on in the second half. But outside of that, they only had the one Neto chance. You lot were constantly knocking at the door all game, and when you lot got the 2-1 win, I'm not looking back at that thinking, Arsenal got away with one here. I'm thinking,
to look at the positives? Is it not good to see? Because Wolves are a good team. This is where I think Wolves get disrespected. Wolves can cause you problems. That can happen.
Yeah.
But for you guys to respond in the second half, if that's a top team like a Manchester City who have a bad half, they're credited for responding and grinding out the win and getting the result against another team that are really in this race also for European places. They're right next to everybody in the table. They're above Tottenham currently. So that's why I'm saying Wolves need to get a bit more respect, because they're causing every big team problems. They caused Liverpool problems. Liverpool got a last-minute winner against them. They caused Manchester City problems at the Etihad as well. They caused Chelsea problems. They took points off of us. So every team that Wolves is coming up against, they're struggling against Wolves because Wolves are very difficult to play against. They're very good defensively and they can handle themselves. And then, obviously, like you said, in those counters, they're going to cause opportunities, especially if you're the team that's expected to win. You played Wolves back-to-back now.
Listen, bro,
and you've got 6 points. It's not just against Wolves, 6 points.
That's my point. Matisse, I get what you're saying, but it's not just against Wolves. We've done this consistently. And this is what I'm saying. I'm surprised by you, Toby, because the problems I'm talking about in my club has been going on for 18 years.
But can we ask, how good is your 11? How high do you rank your team?
My midfield is the worst in the Big Six. It is the worst.
It isn't.
It is the worst. It is rubbish. You've got Xhaka there that constantly gets a game. He is
Forget
rubbish.
about Xhaka.
Then we have Thomas Partey. We have not seen the Partey, the consistent Partey, solid Partey that we saw at Atletico.
Does Thomas Partey start at Spurs? Does Thomas Partey start at Spurs?
Yeah, he will. He's the only one.
Does Thomas Partey start at Man United?
Yeah, he will, but they don't have a good CB.
So that's 2 top 6 sides.
Okay, that's only one midfielder.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask about
midfield is a calamity, isn't it?
Now I'm going to ask about Odegaard. Does he start at Spurs?
But you lot ain't got no one though.
But you just said it's the worst.
This is the point that he's making. There, who's got the worst?
Yeah, but outside of Spurs, you don't get into any of them. He doesn't get into any other team.
Yeah, maybe.
And then when you look at Xhaka, he definitely doesn't get into anybody else. So this is my point, bro.
Yeah, I get your point.
But this is also my point. If you don't, how highly, because this is where I have to ask the question. And I've been very critical of Arteta, but how highly do you rate your Arsenal? I have to ask you, because it's the first time we're having you on. I want to get your thoughts on it. How highly do you rate this Arsenal team, and what more do you think you can see from them that you're not seeing from them under Arteta? What gears and levels are there to go to? Or are they, especially with the youth and then the inconsistent seniors, you talk about Lacazette, the rest of the team is quite young. Xhaka is, in my opinion, overrated as well in that midfield, another experienced player. Partey hasn't really adapted to the Premier League as quickly as we'd hoped. Xhaka, let's just cut the mustard.
Partey was struggling. Northside's right. Partey was struggling, but he looks.
So how good is the team?
He's back in good form.
How good is the team, and what more can they do? Or are they not really better than most? You know, they're not better than just grinding out and getting these results to make top 4, because that's what it's about, isn't it? Get top 4 and then try and get some better players in. Surely,
bro, this team would be doing so much better under a proper manager. This team is not being coached properly, and that is my thing. And the mistakes the things I'm talking about have been present for so many years. And what I'm saying is, with this current group of teams, yeah. Saka and Martinelli need to be rotated. They shouldn't be relied on. You've got a striker that's not dedicated to be here and he's over the hill, not good enough, and he's not firing. Then you have Odegaard that goes missing for 6 games, turns up for one little free kick, and then everyone raves about him. He's not consistent. To get top 4, you need to be consistent. You need some level of consistency. Then you look at Partey. He's playing. He hasn't been consistent. Okay, cool. Then you look at Xhaka, constantly being played. He offers nothing. He offers nothing that El Nene can't do. And El Nene, at least he ain't going to get sent off. Then you look at left back. Tierney, since he's been
So you'd rather have El Nene in the midfield?
What, over Xhaka? 100%. He's not the be or end all.
Yeah, I think it's
but at least he's not going to be a calamity. Do you know what I mean? At least he's going to keep us with 11 man. And then when you look at the defense, this is all his defense. And when you look at Tierney, the player he was when he first came in, he's regressed.
Injuries, though. Surely injuries are hampering Tierney. You
know? But can I ask a question?
Ben White can't defend. I've been calling out. Everyone's talking to me about passing out from the back. I don't care, bro. When you look at Ferdinand, when you look at great centre backs, Tony Adams, Vidic, we don't care about how they played at the back. How do you defend? You are a defender. Do your job properly first.
No side. So wait. Again, you watch your teams more than me, but I'm just going off what I've seen from the games I've seen. Ben White has actually been good defensively for Arsenal this season.
He hasn't.
Am I bugging it? I don't know. Like,
I don't watch him enough.
Decent. I think he started off a little bit shaky, but then he's been decent. And again, I have to call on this. Listen, I don't think he's worth the 50 million. I said it at the time. I think he isn't. I think he could have got a much better price. But we're just talking about the player himself. Yeah, we're just talking about the player himself. He's a player. You have to remember as well, he's still young for a defender. So again, this is part of the project, a process, developing players.
Bro. And January, we've done what we always do. We don't capitalize. We went weaker. We've become weaker after January. How do you do that? How do you let go of all these players and then we go weaker? How do you let go of your best striker? Are you not in 2 games at Barca? But he's not good enough.
But are you not only backing the point then that Arteta, to get this result with a weaker team that he had at the start of the year, is he not still doing pretty well to keep the results churning out? Considering you're saying all these things, all these players and the players getting weaker, well, the squad's got weaker.
He's done well with the results, but it's not consistent. When you're not performing well, that's going to catch up to you. Not every side's going to be a Wolves. And not every time. And like I said, between Hwang and Jimenez, there's 8 to 9 chances they could have buried us. It's just lucky for us they weren't clinical. Now, you put that many chances against a Liverpool or a Man City or even a Man United, because they got enough killers in their team. It is not consistent. We've gone to this season. I've seen Arsenal say, "Oh, it's a perfect time to play Everton when they're on the bottom." We got slapped. We went to Man United, perfect time to play them. Ole got sacked. We got slapped 3-2. Yeah. When we went to Brentford, our free hit, we got slapped. Second game against you. I know how inconsistent my team is. The recruitment isn't good enough. Lokonga, the performance he put against Nottingham Forest was shocking, was Xhaka-esque for the mistake that he did. It is not good enough. We have players out on loan that gets into the starting lineup. Guendouzi is levels above Xhaka, and Guendouzi is not the be-all and end-all. Saliba is levels against Ben White. Ben White, he's always indecisive. He doesn't mark his man. He doesn't mark his runners. Literally yesterday, he got exposed. He wasn't the only one, but guess what? Gabriel doesn't do this week in, week out. Ben White is only good at playing out from the back. As soon as he gets impressed by multiple attackers, this guy is shocking, bro. And I don't have no agenda because I was wrong about Ramsdale. I don't want to be right. But when I see my club doing the same thing, oh, well, Man United didn't sign anyone in January, so we don't sell. Well, why don't we be proactive? Because we are always reactive. Why don't we, if we're going to let go of Aubameyang, get a striker in place, because we already know that Lacazette ain't clinical. Why don't we have a proper number 10? How is Vinay saying, oh, we had to move? This is the crap that comes out of my club. And this is why I get so annoyed. Vinay said, oh, I'm happy with what we did in January, but we tried to move the plan of the January transfer window of the summer transfer window to January transfer. So that means that you didn't have a plan for January because you're trying to move the summer plan to January. Bro,
I do agree you had a poor January, but
you're sitting there and you're trying to justify what I'm seeing, bro. Come on, bro.
No. Listen. Nobody's justifying the January transfer window. You are literally trying to get top 4 with bums like Lacazette. Like Lacazette is a bum. We all knew you needed a striker in January. Nobody is excusing that. Nobody is excusing how thin your squad is, because as good as things are going now, all it takes is a couple injuries and you're done. You're literally done. I think you're short in midfield, you're short at the back, and then you're short in attack. So literally,
short everywhere.
I think the saving grace for you is you're literally no other competition. You're playing maybe like once every week or week and a half or so on average.
And who made us like that?
But I'm not disputing that.
Were we favourites before the January transfer window? No, we wasn't. No, so why are we favourites now?
I didn't say you're favourites.
But that's what my fans are saying. You didn't say that, but that's what the fans are saying.
We're not that
great.
Bro, we're not talking about that. What I'm saying is nobody is disputing your points about what Arsenal have done with the squad, with the management of the squad. But what we're saying is from an objective point of view, in terms of what we're seeing on the pitch now, yeah, if I compare it to what I was seeing from Arsenal last season, if I compare it to what I was seeing from Arsenal at the start of this season, what I'm seeing is a better product. Is that a fair or an accurate statement to make?
No, that's wrong. I'll tell you why. Because we're on track to doing the same thing. The only thing is, Leicester aren't banging. You guys are dropping points. Man United aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Last season, we were struggling against the big six. This season, we are yet to get points from the big six. Do you know what I'm saying? Apart from the North London derby, we're still not getting those points. So when you look it up, the performance is still the same. We're just going on a run where other people are being inconsistent.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. So you're talking about the performance you put in against Wolves. You weren't happy with the performance yesterday, yeah? You're talking about the chances that Hwang and Jimenez had, etc., yeah? Wolves have taken points of us in recent weeks, have taken points of Man United in recent weeks, held Chelsea to a goalless draw at home. Man City, they went away to Man City and they lost. They deserved to lose one, but they only lost 1-0 despite playing with 10 men. You, with this same defense that you were not convinced about yesterday, because it was kind of shaky in the first half. Let's be real. Your defense was kind of shaky in the first half, and even some parts in the second half. But you went to their ground with 10 men, and they didn't look like scoring. They had all the ball, and again, Corey and Matisse, you can chip in here. They had all the ball, and they could have been playing there for 20 hours, and they did not look like scoring.
That was the second half. That was the second half. The first 60 minutes, they did look dangerous, which is why they had so many opportunities to score.
They didn't, bro. They didn't have any clear-cut chances, bro.
They only sat back once they went 1-0 up.
Would you not give credit to that win, especially the win?
This is why, because I can see the storm coming. This is what I'm saying.
I get you.
I know what's coming. So how can I be positive? Because in my heart, I know what's going on. We have not reinforced where we need to reinforce. We are depending on other people to not be consistent for us to get top 4. The performances aren't consistent. When you look at Man United, who were a team that had the same thing, they weren't consistent in their performances, trying to get these 1-0s, trying to get these 2-0s. What happened? Ole got sacked. It is not consistent.
I don't disagree that Arteta at some point will have to get sacked because there will be a threshold that he reaches. But so you're saying you don't think you'll make top 4? Who do you think will make top 4 then?
Man United will get it.
I feel like Man United will.
Hopefully, Man United get it.
That's an hope.
It's shocking what you're saying, because like with you, with Tottenham, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but when your club is not being proactive, they're crap at scouting. Us, this is what we're doing and what you guys have done. Not a backing the right manager, or not appointing the right manager. These are the things I'm seeing at my club. Yeah, I'm seeing if we wanted to win, we should have got Conte. We let him go to you lot. We're going and twerking for Vlahovic, wasting 25 days in the transfer window, then quickly trying to get a panic buy in Alexander Isak. What have I got to, bro? We spent $250 million. When you're comparing, we spent $250 million. You're talking about Wolves, yeah? We spent $250 million, yeah? This guy's been backed, been able to do whatever he wants with this team. This team's almost completely his. And we have no style of play. Does Graham Potter not have a style of play at Brighton? Does Gerrard not have a style of play at Aston Villa? That's where you're conflating two points. I'm not talking about the stuff that you've done in terms of your squad building, all of that stuff. I'm simply talking about your performances and your recent results. I'm talking about your performances and your recent results. Yeah, you're saying you don't have a style of play, but yet when I'm watching your team, I don't see a team that doesn't have any style of play. And the reason why I can make this assessment is because I can see a team in us that are trying to get a style of play. We're trying to play well, but we don't. What would you say our style of play is?
What's that?
What would you say our style of play is?
What's your style of play?
Yeah.
You play out from the back. You attack with 5. You defend with 5.
Do we?
Yes.
I don't believe we do.
Not.
I don't believe we do. No, because
you can play through your midfield, i.e. Odegaard and Partey, and even Granit Xhaka. He's a bum, but at least he can pass the ball.
Come on, tell me now, man.
Are you telling me? Am I lying here? You don't have a style of play now.
Don't do this.
Am I lying here?
No, we have moments of brilliance. It's the same thing when we
moments.
first played.
You had 28 attempts yesterday. You call that moments. You had 28 attempts.
If I don't see constant styles of play constantly, that is moments of brilliance, because we don't constantly do that. We move the ball slowly. Our defenders move the ball slowly. We're not quick in transition. Most of the time, Martinelli's bombing forward. Yesterday's performance was dead. Most of the time, it's either Saka or Martinelli running forward. Most of the time, he has no one there. Lacazette is dropping way too deep. So every time we're on a counter, he's nowhere to be seen. He's still back in midfield playing CDM or something. Do you know what I'm saying? So no, it's not. It's moments of brilliance. And this is what I'm saying. When you look at, I'm not saying you, but a lot of time people look at the highlights and think, oh, we've done well. We're not constantly doing that. We don't move the ball quickly. We don't press. We're not quick in transition. The way we move it out, we move it side to side, side to side. That's the majority of the game, how we play. That's not a style of play. We're not quick, bro. There's moments, but we don't constantly do that. What I refer to is the 4:45 in the North London Derby. Look at the way we played. Why can't we keep on playing like that? Because I've seen this team have the ability to play like that, but we don't do that. We sit back, we're comfortable, and then we pray that Martinelli may open up the team or Saka may open up the team. We can't rely on Lacazette. It's not consistent enough with me. It's not good enough when I'm solely judging him on style of play. Why the hell is this guy been twerking for Nketiah and Lacazette to be playing when Pepe's on the bench? How? Even if you're looking to, even if he looks at it.
Who are his other options though?
Huh?
Like you
can play Martinelli through the middle. You can put Pepe on the. You can put actually Saka's more dangerous on the left for me. He's less predictable. Put Saka on the left and then put Pepe on the right. There you go.
But
it's more dynamic.
Most of Saka's goals and assists have come from the right side. So would you want to compromise that?
You can swap him over. He doesn't have to. You can swap it over.
But you've literally got statistical evidence to point to the fact that Saka is way more productive on the right than he is on the left. Is he not?
The other day I saw him play on the left, and I like to see him more on the left because that's why his goals dried out a little bit since before the other day on the right hand side. He's not direct. He wasn't being direct enough, and I think he's a little bit worn out because he never gets a break.
But this is the thing: if you're never going to get the break, then you're going to have to see the Nketiahs come on. And this is where I get the squad building is not great. You shouldn't have Lacazette as a key part of your team. You shouldn't have Nketiah as a key part of your team. However, you're going to have to, you've got to use these players because we're talking about not having an over-reliance on Saka, on Martinelli, on these young players. You have to use your squad then. And I think that's where, again, he did build the squad, so I do get what you're saying. But this is where I'm looking at the quality of some of the players that are coming on. I'm thinking, you don't really have any game changers at all, really, in terms of the Nketiahs of this world coming on. It's good results that you're picking up. Yes, I know the performances aren't perfect, but I don't think outside of Liverpool and Manchester City, there's many clubs that are putting in great performances in the top half of the table. I think you've also got to compare and contrast what's going on around you. Tottenham are not having great performances. Chelsea have been criticising our performances for a month. Maybe we need to look at the quality of the Premier League and we need to say, do you know what? There's actually other good teams here. It's not actually just the top big six. It's not actually just for us to come and just rampage through the league and put in brilliant performances week in, week out. You do have to churn out results. And I think you guys are doing that. Is it sustainable? We're only going to find out when the season ends. However, when I'm looking at the quality of your team and I'm looking at the results you're picking up, I think it is something that deserves credit, especially the Wolves fixtures, because the Wolves, I've seen Wolves are hard to play this season. They're not an easy team at all. But I do want to get on to West Ham before we wrap up as well, because I know they didn't play, but you do have Wolves actually next. So from everything you're hearing, Corey, how worried are you about Wolves? Because obviously you've got them this week. You need a win because you've been dropping some points there. Newcastle, you drew 1-1. We spoke about it actually last time out that Newcastle was going to be a tough team to play. And obviously Leicester as well before that. So how are you feeling going into Wolves after everything you're hearing?
Yeah, it's tough, mate. It's tough. I think that's why I thought Arsenal got a good result last night, because Wolves, I know what they're like, and they've done a job on us. They've done a job on Spurs. And for us to even be in that conversation of trying to get European football, we've got to go and get something. And to be honest, we spoke about a win. I think even a draw, just to pen them back a little bit. I know Moyes come out actually today in the post-match or in the press conference saying we've been unbeaten in 4 games. But to be honest, you look at our performances over 2 months, they've been crazy inconsistent. Soufal's now out. He's had surgery on a groin. So they've got injuries piling up. And for me, this is the last real game in the Prem before we go back-to-back with FA Cup and Europa League. So you got to respond. We've got to respond in that game, mate. But, I was there at the Newcastle game, and you're seeing so many dipping performances across the pitch that even the likes of Declan Rice is struggling because he's having to pull up the yards for someone like Thomas Souček, and he's making basic errors that he doesn't make. So Moyes has got to address it. I think in this game, I think a lot of West Ham fans just want to see him twist a little bit, just change the system and the personnel. If it's Bowen up front in the false line, play it. If you want to rest Mickey and play him in the FA Cup, fine. But legs, energy, we need something else in this game, because at the end of the day, you're playing Wolves, a team that will, they're solid defensively, and that's going to be an issue for us to break down. But probably more importantly, they control possession. If you've got no energy in that midfield to go and get a turnover and create from there, you're going to struggle big time. So it's going to be a risk anyway. You could say, oh, well, let's play Manu Lanzini next to Declan Rice. That's not perfect at all, but it gives you a little bit better ball retention. So I think we need to see that from David Moyes, if I'm honest. I know it sounds a little bit me on my high horse after what he's done for West Ham, but he's a good enough coach for me to come up with a different game plan. He is. So I just need to see something else, because I feel that the fans at the moment, online, on YouTube, in the ground, they're getting frustrated. And to be honest, our centre-backs are our best performers. So that tells a story. So a response, a bit of energy, a bit of consistency over 60-70. Not for the whole game. I don't think West Ham have done a job on a team really all season, to be honest. Maybe Villa was the last time. But if we could just nick a 1-0 from a set piece, which is going to be near on impossible.
Desperate for a Wolves W, man. Please. Wolves, I wish they got the W yesterday, man. I wish they got the W yesterday. If they were
so close.
If they were clinical, oh God.
They're a nightmare, man. They've got Neto coming back. Podence is in a bit
back,
form. Like, there's so many players there that you're looking at.
Is a baller, man.
Yeah, look, I mean, the
thing, Podence is a weird one, because I watched him against Leicester. He got man of the match. Him and Lookman were by far and away the most threatening players. The weird thing with Podence, though, is that with all of that skill and that ability to play, you expect more output and you don't get it. It's almost like he's a showboat, but he doesn't have the end product. He's like, it's like he needs someone, and I'm not blaming the manager, but it's like he almost needs a manager to say, listen, it's all great to be looking good on the ball. I think you're 26 years old now. You're coming into your prime, or you're in your prime. You need to actually be delivering some output. And that's where obviously Neto comes in.
Yeah, I was going to ask Corey, though, beyond Wolves, because obviously that's what we're talking on, Wolves' attack, on who can hurt West Ham, but West Ham's attack, how do you solve this Antonio conundrum? Because, again, similar to Arsenal, similar to Spurs, didn't do, well, to be fair, we did better business than you, but yeah, you didn't do enough business.
Not hard, mate. We weren't even competitive at all.
Yeah, you and Arsenal, I think you lot did poor business in January, but it looks like it might actually, it's going to cost you, because Antonio, the goals have dried up, and even beyond the goals, the performances have literally fell off a cliff now. Like, what is the solution for West Ham here?
You got to drop him. He's got to be big enough.
Who would you drop him for? Vlasic?
No, I play Bowen false 9. I play an attacking midfield.
Has he played there before for West Ham?
Who, Bowen?
Yeah,
he has on occasion. Yeah, it's not perfect. I think against Chelsea second half, when we beat them, we almost played a 3-5-2, and we got Bowen a little bit closer to Antonio. I just think even if he's not playing, there is enough energy there, and there is enough options there for those attacking four to get close enough to one another. But it does require West Ham to be good enough on the ball. It's just such a shame, because, and this is where Moyes has got to show his skill, is that we built a whole system on Antonio, and people are pulling up the fact, now he's running in the channels, and now he's done that for years. It's just he's not as intense. He's not winning his duels. He's not holding the ball up. The attacking midfield don't know what to do when he's not playing it off them, or he's getting on the half turn. So for me, and Antonio gets a lot of leeway. He probably gets too much leeway, because
when he's awful.
No, I agree. And West Ham,
I liken it to the fact that there's no rotation, which is why I think he gets that leeway, because he doesn't have anybody else that can come in for him. And I think you talk about the intensity dropping in Antonio. I think the intensity is dropping in midfield. You touched on it. You're not really dominating midfield, which is surprising, because you got the players, Souček and Rice, to dominate midfields. But against Leicester, I didn't get to watch Newcastle, but I don't know.
It's a big problem when West Ham lose.
They lost against Leicester.
The Leicester, there was a lack.
Well, the thing is, Leicester, we started well for 30 minutes, and then the minute it dips,
I don't know if I'd give you 30 minutes, you know.
Nah, come on, mate. Come on. It was spot
I don't know if I'd give you 30.
I'm not having that, mate. I'm not.
This is what I'm saying with Northside.
I'll take every straw.
I feel like giving you a bit less than that.
Spurs are playing poorly. United are playing poorly. Arsenal are playing the best out of these.
Toby, what's this agenda? Yeah, you lot never told me that you've never looked at your club and say, you know what, we didn't play great, but we got the 3 points. I'm happy for the points, but we weren't great. You've never
but
said that about your team. Why is it?
Nah,
Why
that's
is
what
it
I'm saying,
really? Why am I
Sorry,
getting
my
this
bad. Ignore me. Go on, Corey. Sorry.
No, look,
Go on, Corey.
Corey, is Moyes getting backed? Because I've never
No.
seen West Ham in this position. And for you lot not to do anything in January, I was surprised, bro, because they should be giving him everything, just like Tottenham should have done with Poch.
Yeah, welcome to West Ham United with our owners. That's what it's about, mate. That's all it is. It's the fact that they didn't back. I don't feel that they backed him in certain targets, and it's a bit of a fugazi anyway, because he'll never come out like we used to do and be open about targets. So you'll only hear rumours, and we really never know who his first choice is. But I can guarantee you that West Ham should have had enough with that check investment to go and get someone for 25, 30 mil. And it's a bit of both. They don't back him, but he's not willing to take whatever our owners throw at him or whatever any agent will throw at him. And I think that unfortunately, there has to be some kind of balance. It falls on the board, 70, it's probably 80-20. But the only thing I was disappointed with Moyes was I did feel that in terms of striking options, given how far the bars dropped with Antonio, he could have got a lone striker in. And I do think he's got to back himself enough to bring in a player that wants to prove himself, that's got good work ethic that we can work with. It's a shame that the conversation's gone from, why don't we get a different type of striker? Why don't we get someone else that can compete with him to, let's just take someone for 20 minutes? And that's how bad it is. So I do feel that he could have done that, but it was a massive opportunity missed. I do feel like we'll look back at it and regret it, because I think similarly to Arsenal, none of us really expected to get to the top four. And then when it's so wide open for as long as it has been, particularly with West Ham, you've got to take that chance. You can't just sit around and because that Champions League football for us, it elevates us, even if it's only for one season. And then
Chuck
you build
Spurs
on
in
it.
there as well, by the way. Chuck Spurs in there. West Ham, Arsenal, and Spurs. Chuck Spurs in there as well.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. All right. Calm down.
All of you.
You actually did business, mate. You actually did business, mate. I'm talking about us and Arsenal didn't do anything.
It wasn't enough. Everyone in January failed. Everybody in January failed. All three of your clubs in January were in good enough positions to say, we commit that extra bit of cash, we commit that extra bit of recruitment, that extra bit of scouting, because you all knew where you were before the window opened. So it's like you had time to prepare, and you go into the window and everybody underperforms. I'm just looking at you like,
what have we got in common? What have we all got in common? Our owners aren't ambitious. They'd look at it and go, nah, I think we're all right. We'll just wait. And then we'll see it out. And it's a financial decision. That's all it is. I think it's ludicrous, because for me as a fan, if we lost out on summer transfer targets because we brought them in January and we didn't bring anyone else in the summer, why would that matter? Like, genuinely, why would it matter? If
your transfer targets would change if you was in Champions League, would they not? You know? So potentially they would go up a gear. You know,
they would, but let's be realistic where West Ham are at. I mean, even with Champions League football, like the scope of player.
You're in London. No, I disagree. You're in London. You know, you're in London. You're in Champions League. I think you would be able to attract. I mean, obviously, it depends on wages. Of course, you still got to offer what the top clubs offer, but I think you'd be able to attract some very good players. I think there's no reason to think that if you got a year of Champions League, you wouldn't be able to do what Leicester did, where if your recruitment was of that level, and it seems like David Moyes is quite meticulous with who he wants to bring in. He's very picky. You could sustain a 5th, 6th position, which is what it's about, right? Because obviously consistent Champions League football is just unrealistic with the spending of Manchester United and the way that they manipulate the market, and they have done. But even just to solidify a 5th, 6th, it's all about solidifying Europa League football, I think, for West Ham. And you could have done that if you got that 1 year in Champions League by spending and going that extra mile. Just and I think you've got a very good team, good 11 and maybe a good 12, 13. But I think your main issue, like you said, is the energy levels dropping because you're not able to rotate very well because the people come in and are nowhere near the level of that pivot that starts in midfield. And especially when you've got the Europa League game against Sevilla coming up, where do you prioritize? It's impossible to prioritize.
Well, that's the worry a little bit, because you go into these games, even Southampton, and think he's going to play his strongest team. And at the beginning of the season, when we were all fit and we were raring to go and we were winning games, I loved it, because it's the first time really, probably in my lifetime, we've actually taken these cup competitions seriously. And I felt, you know what, we're going for it. But he has to make a choice. I do feel that he has to make a choice. And at some point, he has to rotate enough. I don't want to get to Sevilla and sit there and look at the players and they're dead on their feet. Because as a fan, to have got to the Europa League and be disappointed in that, he'll just feel awful. And I know he wants to push this team as far as possible and he believes in them, but there's only so far that they can go. And even just in terms of energy, in terms of recruitment, they're players that shouldn't be at West Ham. Yarmolenko, Masuaku, they've run their course in terms of the level that we can go to.
Yeah. Do you have to sell Rice? Like, you know, like how Leicester did with Conte and with the other one that went to Man City. Yeah, like do you
Mahrez,
guys need to, you know, just sell him, get maximum funds, and then use that. And if you can replace 3-4 areas, your overall squad will be stronger. Because I've seen other teams in the Premier League do that, and it works out better for them. You know, like Aston Villa, I know they're not, you know, the greatest, but Leicester did it. Sometimes you need to just get rid of your best player, get that funds, and then at least you have some decent players in some key areas.
The problem I've got is he's so good. He's so good. Like,
we spoke about this with Tottenham.
I couldn't. You watch him out that West Ham team, you don't realise how important he is. You know, it just everything in terms of attack this season, in terms of ball progression, defensively, what he offers, how he's flitted between a 6 and an 8 at times. We don't have a player like that at all. So I just feel that you try and build around your best players. I think West Ham have got enough money. Like, I don't know whether it's from Kaczynski or whoever, but we have got enough money to progress. So you keep him and you keep Bowen for as long as possible, and you try and get 2-3 in that suit them.
Well, we're going to wrap this up because it's been a mad show. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, listen, Toby would be saying the same thing with Kane. You know, you build around your best players and you bring in more to supplement them, not take them away and try and replace them, which is nearly impossible to do. Listen, fuck Chelsea all you want. Do you know what I'm saying? World champions and whatnot. It's a Carabao Cup final against Liverpool. I'm not going to speak anymore on Chelsea because I've been doing so. And obviously for me, my main thing that I just want to get off my chest is Lukaku needs to be on the bench against Liverpool for the Carabao Cup final. I was at the Lille game, and that's where we're at. We're better without Lukaku. Kai starts up top.
Who should start?
Kai starts up top. Kai starts up top. Yeah, cool. Kai Havertz, the big game player.
I see your fans getting on me because of what I tweeted the other day, but it's fine.
Listen, you will probably lose the long term with Kai, in my opinion. But listen, Kai starts. Yeah,
probably, but I don't think he's going to be bad long term. I'm saying he's been poor.
Yeah, so far he hasn't been good enough, but he's better than Lukaku, and that's the comparison, isn't it? With who starts, and Pulisic as well. You know, he's Ziyech. I think tactically, I can see Mason Mount starting, to be honest, over Ziyech, even though Ziyech has been way better than Mason Mount in the last 3 months. But because Liverpool will play with a 3-man midfield, you'll need to match that, and the only way of matching that is with obviously the pivot, and then going with Mason Mount, who interchanges between that pivot and giving them defensive cover, and then going into the final third. He's got the work rate to go in between. I think if you go with Ziyech, you're committing to a pivot versus a 3-man midfield. Yes, you hope Ziyech works hard enough to cover the spaces, and especially with Thiago playing, the pitch is going to be so big. It's a completely different ball game to what we played at Stamford Bridge. I just finished a preview of Grizz on a Week in Eat Chelsea as well before this, and Thiago playing over James Milner when he did at Stamford Bridge changes the game completely now for Liverpool. So yeah, but less said about that. You know, I'll be bringing that up in the previews coming up. But big up your damn selves, Northside. Pleasure to have you on as a special guest. Let them know where to find you, man. And the links will obviously be in the title and the description, people.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Northside LDN, just as it says there on my name. And yeah, man, thanks guys for having me. And Toby, when I'm depressed, let me get it off my chest, bro. I let you get it off your chest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know it is Northside. Like, I'm actually depressed. Like, you are riding high.
You're in the dark side.
Enjoy it while it lasts, bro. I know the things around are messy, but enjoy it while it lasts, because I know what the pit of hell looks like.
I can't.
You should know, because you were in it last season and the season before. I'm right now.
Matisse winning too much, yeah, for me to be happy, bro. I'm seeing Matisse win too much. Look at him. You don't even want to talk about it. Look how smug he is.
Toby, let them know where to find you, man. Big up as always. Brilliant.
If they're Chelsea subscribers, don't find me.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Don't find me.
I ain't never seen nobody. You sound like Conte. Don't back me. Don't subscribe to me. All right.
I'm a reflection of my manager. But for everyone else, tap in Tobs. Yeah. If you're Arsenal, Chelsea, don't find me.
Man said if everybody else, you know. All right, cool. Corey, let them know where to find you, man. Big up as always. Brilliant show.
Yeah. West Ham way, mate. I'll do a little pre-match for Wolves, and then hopefully not a depressive post-match against them on Sunday. So I'm not looking forward to it, man. Every time I go to these games now, I'm starting to feel like the weight on my shoulders. Like at the beginning of the season, I was buzzing. I was like, get me up there, blah, blah, blah. Now it's a bit testing. But hopefully we get
I'll be in the DMs, Corey.
Mate, you are on my case. This geezer is on my case all the time. I can't put up one West Ham related post without him coming at me. It does my head in. I'm going to have to start throwing it back because it's getting right under my skin.
You need to stop throwing it back.
I don't even know how to get off as well, because Spurs are actually mudded as well. Muddy.
Oh god. For the guys obviously in the comments, obviously Lee will be back next week. He was at a wedding this week, enjoying up life, stunting on his Instagram with his suits and whatnot. So listen, we'll be back next week to hear his very positive takes on Arsenal and the future of Arteta, I'm sure. Looking forward to it. Big up everybody that's been watching the show. Smash up the likes and make sure you go and subscribe to Northside. Pleasure having him fill in today. I really appreciate it. And listen, I'm sure we'll be back on at some point as well. Listen, make sure you subscribe, people. Big up, and I'll see you, man, in a bit. Peace.